All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Navigating Leadership AP Roundtable number 6. Tonight, we're going to talk about defining your superpower. And we have some outstanding assistant principals from across the country talking to us tonight. And we are very excited for this conversation. As your first time watching, we appreciate you being here. I'm AJ Bianco, entering my second year as a middle school assistant principal here in New Jersey. And we are here because we are connecting assistant principals and aspiring leaders to understand what our role is as assistant principal, what we're doing, and how we can continue to improve. As leadership roles, we know we're on an island, so we find these people around us who make us feel better, make us feel comfortable, and give us ideas to achieve more. So I'm going to kick it over to my co-host real quick, Mike. He's going to introduce himself, and then we're going to introduce our guests. So here we go. Let's kick this thing off, Mike.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Lavelle. I'm the assistant principal over at Oxford Middle School. This is my 10th, going on my 11th year as an AP here in Massachusetts. That was a therapeutic socialization counselor. Just here at this table right now, we have North Carolina, Virginia, Massachusetts, New Jersey. Like AJ said, we're here to talk about what APs do across the country, what we do as a team and as a unit. This is some of the best professional development that we can get into because we're hearing from each other and we're hearing from the people who do this job every day. So go ahead, guys.
All right, Matt, so why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what you do.
All right, I got you. Yep. So Matt Dunbar from Rocky Mount, Virginia. I am entering my 10th year in education. I spent 5 years as a world history and government teacher, 1 year as a high school assistant principal, and I've been at the middle school level for the last, this will be my 4th year there. I am currently the 6th grade administrator at Benjamin Franklin Middle School. We serve about 1,500 students in 3 different buildings. The building that I'm in is the 6th grade building, and we have right around 500 6th graders coming to us next school year from 12 different elementary schools. So all pouring into our one middle school that we have for our division. So exciting time. The kids come back on the 11th. And new teachers come on Monday, and veteran teachers come on Wednesday. So we are right at the beginning of this.
There you go. Hit the ground running. Those are a lot of kids,
wow.
man. Oh, my
That's
goodness.
a lot of kids. A lot of kids.
Grade level? Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
All right, Kristen, how about you? Introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, Kristen Hutchinson. I'm in Oxford, Mass. I'm an elementary assistant principal. This is my 3rd year. Before that, I was a special ed teacher for 12 years. This year, my job's kind of changing a bit. I'm going to be splitting between 2 elementary schools, like a K1, 2, and then my building is now grades 3 and 4. Previously, it was grades 2, 3, and 4. That's about it. I'm looking forward to hopefully having a more normal year. I've never had a normal full year yet as an assistant principal, so we'll see how this year goes.
Fingers crossed for that one. Going across 2 schools, good for you. All right, Jonathan, last but not least, introduce yourself.
Perfect. Well, good evening, everybody. Once again, I am Jonathan Moore, currently residing in Greensboro, North Carolina. I am beginning my 2nd year as an assistant principal. Before that, I served as a 6th grade social studies teacher. Before that, as an elementary school TA for kindergarten and 1st grade. I will be serving as a 7th grade administrator this year. So fingers crossed for me, a good year. I've heard that 7th grade is quite interesting, so I am excited about that. We have about 900 students at our school, so like was kind of already mentioned tonight, I'm just hoping for a great year, some kind of normal year, as much as possible, but I am excited.
Right
That's
on.
awesome. That's great.
Right on. So 6th grade social studies, I got to tell you, my friend, that's a good spot to be.
Yeah.
Spent 8 years in that classroom, my friend, right? You're my hometown, you know it.
I was going to say, this seems to be the theme. We got some social studies teachers here. I did 14 years. You are.
Listen, we're good storytellers, and half of what we do every day is tell a story, right? So
Yeah,
that's where that comes in.
I love it.
All right, so let me kick us off with our first question here, right? So like I said, we got so many different states and so many different districts and buildings that are represented. I couldn't even imagine 500 kids coming in at 1 grade level, right? So we got about 368, 369, students in my building, 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. So with the APs wearing so many different hats, right, in our buildings, in our districts, in our different states, what are your primary roles and responsibilities in your current role as an AP? Why don't we go over to Jonathan, then we'll do Matt, and then Kristen.
Yes. So When it comes to the instruction component, I will be serving as the lead for social studies and science teachers, making sure to kind of manage and kind of facilitate our PLCs. So professional learning communities, for those who do not know PLC, I mean, I know that in education, we love to shorten things. So I just want to make sure I kind of said that. But serving as the lead for that. As the seventh grade administrator, of course, dealing with, all seventh grade students, families, handling those concerns and issues. Also, this last year, I kind of served as kind of the facilities guru. I know next year I'll be kind of taking the lead also when it comes to the safety and health concerns, knowing that we still be going through a year and still having to deal with the pandemic. I'll be kind of leading that effort as well when it comes to the health and safety of our students and our staff members. And then finally, the last part of my responsibility for seventh grade is, of course, doing like the observations for teachers as well as the EC staff. Some states say EC, exceptional children. Some states say special education. So I'll be serving as kind of the lead for those staff members as well.
Hey, Jonathan, real quick, I know, Matt, we're going to kick over to you, but can you dive into those PLCs a little bit? That's something that really intrigues me. So what's your vision for the PLCs for your school?
So knowing that we just came out of a crazy year, right now it's just kind of getting back to making sure that our PLCs are intentional. I felt like last year it was survival mode, and we did not want to go too deep into all the nitpicking of the instruction piece. I think last year was just making sure that teachers felt comfortable. I felt like last year, if you were a 10th year teacher or 15th year or first year, I felt like every teacher was a rookie teacher because of how much they had to use technology in the classroom. So knowing that we had to learn so much, our PLCs was really just trying to keep teachers motivated just to keep going. But this year, we want to make sure we get back to making sure that our instruction is intentional and that we really are meeting the needs of our students. So making sure that assignments are intentional, making sure that we are addressing different learning styles, all of that happening in our PLCs.
I like that. See, I'm sure you're setting the tone from day one, getting in there, expectations for your staff. That's beautiful. Those PLCs are really important, especially right now. Teachers really need to rely on each other. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that, Jonathan.
Sir.
Matt, you're up, buddy.
Yeah, so a lot of what Jonathan was saying is similar for me. I am working with sixth grade, and my first role as an assistant principal, like I said, was the high school level. It was at a inner city school, and I dealt with students, parents, and teachers. That was the gist of my responsibilities, and it did not really go any further than that. Moving to the middle school position and kind of now transitioning to that sixth grade building, I'm evaluating math, English, science, social studies. I have a special ed aspect of it as well. I am, day in and day out, I am trying to meet the kids where they are. I'm trying to have conversations with the teachers as often as I possibly can. A couple of my main responsibilities, though, as far as the middle school is concerned, is I'm kind of our technology liaison between us and our division technology department. So as far as kind of ensuring Canvas support, last school year, Jonathan was touching on that. He said that survivor piece. I would wager that from August or September through January, I don't know, I spent 25% of my time being Canvas CSI. Did someone actually complete this assignment? And if they didn't, or if they did, how can we make sure that it got there? So I do a lot hands-on wise with technology, and with the technology piece comes the testing piece. Testing 500 kids is a huge deal. We have, obviously, with that come a lot of accommodations and figuring out where kids are actually specifically supposed to be testing. That's a huge deal. But, my main goal when I go into the school building every day is trying to give people a voice, students and staff, and then making as many people smile as I possibly can. When you feel good going into work, you do a better job. And that's something that I try to take with me every single day. And I was actually blown away by what Jonathan was saying as far as the PLCs. You talk about actual instructional leadership. That is digging in a great way on that. So that was awesome to hear. So a lot of what he was saying initially, I echo as well.
That's awesome. Now, Matt, your building, are you just a sixth grade building, or are you a sixth grade off of another building? Like, is it a separate building by itself?
Yeah. So our middle school complex is kind of weird. We have 3 separate schools. So our East Hall building is just sixth grade. And then we have a self-contained special education program that's also housed in there. Our building is 2 floors. And then in the building that is about a football field away from me, we have the 7th grade and a half the 8th grade. And then a building a mile down the road is the other half of the 8th grade. So the 8th graders split between the 2 buildings by semester. So you want to talk about incredible. We made a video for parents of rising 6th graders this school year, because they were not afforded the same opportunities that people had been in the past as far as coming to the building to check it out. And we have on the regular about 45 buses that leave our lot in the afternoon, because we have so many kids. And we did it in we sped it up, and seeing all those buses come in and go out, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, my goodness, my bus fleet is 11. We got 11 buses for my whole building, Matt. That's a configurations now.
We're a pretty rural area, so our kids, we have 12 elementary schools, 1 middle school, 1 high school, and you talk about the run of the gamut of SES. That's within our division, but it's nothing for a kid to have an hour and 35-minute bus ride, hour and 45-minute bus ride.
What?
Yeah. So. Yep.
Matt, what's this? I'm fascinated by this now. This is like an episode by itself. What is what is the leadership dynamic of your middle school? You say you have 1 middle school, but you have like 4 buildings separated between a mile. How does that work out?
We have a campus principal, and then underneath the campus principal, there are grade level administrators. So it just so happens that the 6th grade is in its own building. So in my building, and this is where this actually becomes very funny. Currently, I'm the only administrator for all 500 kids. I'm our awesome special education coordinator / administrator took a job at a neighboring division as an assistant principal. So she just started that. Who was our dean of students is now the athletic director for the high school. So we're in the process of trying to find me some compadres to go at this school year. So it's not just me looking around at 500 kids and 40 staff members going, hey, let's do this. But yeah, so we're separated by grade levels. And then within the grade levels, we also have, we did have 2 special education coordinators who worked hand in hand with us, 6 different guidance counselors. So we try to spread it out. But when you say, hey, I'm at a middle school in one specific building that has 500 kids, your reaction is everyone's reaction.
Yeah. I mean, you just keep bringing that positivity, man. It sounds like you're gonna do okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kristen, you're up, my friend.
Okay. So far, I feel like every year I'm wearing different hats. Like my first year was more like, it started with like more discipline and data and stuff. Last year, I was more an adjustment counselor the whole time. And then like this coming up year, I'm going to be working closely with like our new curriculum director and doing a lot more like curriculum and instruction at the elementary level. I've been told the superintendent's got big plans for me. So I don't know what they are, but I guess I'll find out as we go.
Never a good thing.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's always exciting. In my building, safety, security, climate, culture, discipline, right? That's probably my, and the communication that goes along with all that. And when it comes to like, incidents that come through my building, it's bullying, assault, harassment, weapons, drugs. That's the primary role of what I do. And of course, there's also that, instructional role, but that's more my principal's lane, the CIA, curriculum instruction assessment. I know the things that are going on. I like to say that I cross into those lanes sometimes and want to speak knowledgeably about everything that goes on in my building, which kind of drives people crazy sometimes. Like, why is it Mike asking about math? Things like that. But that's just kind of how I do it. And then you kind of your roles, and so I support in those different in those different lanes. But it's primarily the that traditional role of especially at our middle school level. That's what we have. So it's the traditional kind of makeup where it's myself, my principal, and we have 2 guidance counselors on our team, and then we have 3 different grade levels. So that's how it works in my building.
Yeah. I think we focus more like on the kids when you're in AP. You get to be with the kids more than the principals do. So that's more over here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kristen, I was just going to say that I think for me, Mike, you mentioned the lanes. I like that. I can swerve. I can do anything I want to. I'm not the one in charge. I don't have to worry about facilities all the time. The principal kind of worries about that, but I get to be with the kids. I get to worry about the instruction, observations, all that good stuff. So, we are all wearing a variety of different hats. And I think, that's kind of what makes this position so intriguing. This is why, I keep saying I'm in my dream job, right? I'm a middle school guy, and I'm a VP at a middle school. This is the school I wanted to be at. I'm so excited about what's coming up. So for me, I have some great passions about the things I want to do to make sure my school is top notch, best middle school in New Jersey. So I'll share some of my passions later on. But let's circle back. I'm going to start with you, Kristen. What's something that you are so passionate about that with all these different hats you're wearing, you want to bring this to your school that you want to be remembered for this project you're going to lead going into the 21-22 school year?
I'm going to go with our big focus is really tier 2 academic support because it's really been lacking. Especially last year, we had one Title I staff member, and she had 75 kids that she was taking for ELA and about 90 kids she was taking for math. And last year with the hybrid setup, she was taking kids twice a week on the week they came in. So it was really 4 times a month. And she was doing everything she could, the smile on her face. She did not complain, but it wasn't enough. I mean, we still did a really good job overall, considering what we were all dealing with. But with our new curriculum director, we just have plans. The first 2 weeks, we're just taking all our teams, our reading specialists and teaching assistants and special ed and everybody, and we're getting together and we're spending 2 weeks of just PD and making intervention kits. So one day is phonics. We're going to focus on what we could do for phonics instruction, get the materials ready right away. So we have kits for every person. That's our big deal. When we got all our Easter money, we went for staff, not stuff. So we're hiring tons of staff.
I like that.
Every grade we're getting. So every grade will have, I guess I'm K4 now. So we hired 2 additional teachers so we could break down class sizes to have 15 kids per class for K-4. And we'll have a reading interventionist and a teaching assistant per grade. So, I mean, if we don't nail it out of the park after 2 years of this, I don't know what's going on then. Got a lot of good stuff happening. So
that is exciting. It's definitely exciting when we start to talk about those are federal monies. All of our districts are going to be getting those. And I think the thing that you said that was awesome, Kristen, was we're concentrating on staff, not stuff. That's sharp right there. Same thing in my building. We got the same kind of protocol. We have 3 math interventionists, 2 special ed teachers, 3 teachers assistants, all to support the classroom teachers and the work that's going on there. That's going to directly affect kids and their experience in our building. And I think that is spot on. And yeah, it is exciting. It's kind of what are we going to leave behind and never go back to? What are we going to keep from this past year? And what are we going to create? And with all these different the support folks that we have, we're going to be able to do some really cool things, I think.
That's awesome. Jonathan, let's kick it over to you. What's something you're passionate about? What are you going to lead in your school this year?
Yes. So what I'm most passionate about is just kind of helping to rebrand our school and rebuild that culture, knowing that many of our students did not actually come into our building until February. And once they came back, we could sense that some of the kids have just lost how to communicate with each other and just feel like part of the community. So part of our major project for next year is just making sure that we kind of rebuilding who we are, rebranding, and just building that culture piece. So that way our students, our staff feel united. When they feel cared for, united, then the instructional piece will come. Once they feel like they are part of something and have that foundation set, then we know we'll kind of get back to some kind of normalcy. So that way they can be engaged in classrooms as well. So it really is just taking the time to get to know the students again, make sure they're connected, making sure that we do a lot of social emotional learning and teaching and instruction, all of that. So that way, like I said, we do feel that we are one community again. So that is our major project for this upcoming year.
That's so important. Getting the kids back together, letting them understand like who's there for them. That's huge. Do you have any ideas of how you're going to start that? You mentioned branding. So is that social media branding or like branding within the community?
Yes. So all of that. And then also like one of the projects we want to do, we have a lot of white spaces in our walls. So we want to make sure that we have students kind of decorate like a different block in our building. So that way they feel like they are a piece of our school. And then when they leave, like their legacy is still there. So that's one of the projects we want to work on. In our schedule, we have set aside like 30 minutes at the end of the day to make sure we do some of that social emotional learning, making sure that we have time for executive functioning so that way they can actually feel like, okay, cool, like I feel connected. And then this is how I do school. This is how I write down my assignments for today. This is how I email teachers. This is how I communicate with the school counselor. All those things we want to make sure that we touch on because we really felt like they just kind of lost that skill. So that's some of the things that we are working on for next year.
For sure. Seen, heard, and valued, all of that right there. I love that concept, that idea of a living museum too. Student ownership and empowerment from Sean Moriarty over here. We just put that up. That's so important. Like we got this, we have a space now, right? It was taken away from everybody last year. We couldn't come back to this space. We figured out learning can happen anywhere, right? We can do that anywhere, but school, when we all come here as a community, that's different. And to make that kind of like living museum, I love that wall idea. What do your walls say? When you walk into your building, what do your walls say? If it's just brick walls, then they're not saying nothing, right? That's really key. I think that's awesome.
That's great. Thank you. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so this is a kind of a loaded question. So one thing that sticks out with me and kind of drives me or kind of refocusing on my why is I think school has to be different. And so often we are hung up in content and content is important. But we are trying to create people that are going to go out and be productive, kind, caring, empathetic people in the world. So a conversation that I see myself constantly having is, yes, we teach content, but we teach kids. Kids are what we teach. The content comes out of it. So I think, trying to have conversations with people about the need of showing the care, the need of showing the love, the need of having conversations and not caring about getting off topic, because that is what is connecting the kid to the school, like Jonathan was saying, that they have to feel that connection. And, especially for sixth grade, they went from, you hear this all the time, the big fish in the little pond, the little fish in the big pond. But imagine you went from maybe your school had 2 fifth grade classes and there were 50 total kids. And now you're thrown into the middle school where there are 500. Like that is just an incredible sense of shock for someone that's 10, 11, or 12 years old to have to go through. So, we really, we put a lot of focus on the beginning of the school year, making sure that there is that classroom community built. And my wife is an awesome second grade teacher. She was our divisions teacher of the year this year. And I see what she's doing all the time. And as far as, yes, she teaches the content, but she's focused on the kids. And I want to try to take some of that awesome that I know that is happening at the elementary level and filter that in. Because there are those great morning meetings, and there is they are doing a great job of teaching social emotional, and I want to wrap those things in. But specifically, I guess for this upcoming school year, too, the one thing that I'm super passionate about is we have 6 different teams within our middle school. The teams have about 75 to 80 kids on them, and each team has their 4 core teachers. We have an additional math teacher, and math teacher's fantastic. We have a great group of teachers by and large, but she has agreed to do something kind of revolutionary with some of our kids. She is going to her first 3 periods of the day. she is really taking a hot list of kids, and we're going back to 4th grade math, and we're going to do 4th grade math, we're going to do 5th grade math, and then we're going to get to 6th grade math. And we're going to try to cycle through that, because our hypothesis is if we put in the supports and we really focus our efforts there, those kids are going to end up doing better and coming out stronger math students than if we were just jamming 6th grade material down them. So my focus is, yes, we want to have these awesome end products, but along the way, we do have to have that academic piece tucked into the side, and saying, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we're innovating a little bit and trying to get to a better end result.
Matt, that's so important. You talk about the connecting. I think about our kids. We have 5th graders coming into our building who probably really haven't been in a school, in a classroom since 3rd grade. That's amazing to me that they've skipped an entire year and now they're jumping into middle school. I don't care about the curriculum. As a leader, I know I'm going to trust my teachers that they're going to get there. The most important thing are getting these kids into a classroom where they get to know the kids next to them, the students from different schools that they're coming to meet for the first time, get them comfortable, get them excited, build that love, build that relationship. The curriculum will come. We'll build up where we need to go. And I hate the term learning loss, because there is no such thing as learning loss. They're learning different things every year. They're learning different things in the real world, in a book, even if they're watching TV, they're learning something. So there is no learning loss. So I like what you guys are doing there, Matt. You and your 500 6th graders.
Yes, me and all 500 strong.
For sure, man. Definitely all these things that we're talking about all kind of hit that thread, right? I think what I'm most passionate about this year is this concept of student voice, right? I want to solicit it. I want to understand what they're looking for, and I want to know what it is, and I want to act on it. It seems like everything was just taken away from them. The cultural part of school was just taken away, and it would happen like that, March 13th. Everybody knows that date. As Massachusetts, we were done at that point, and everybody just left. So now I think it's the social part of the social emotional learning, right? The emotions are going to be there, the learning's going to happen, but it's the social piece. When you come back into the building, what are we all going to do? What are we all going to say? Sports are back, esports are back. We got Spanish club is back. We have, musical is back, band is back, chorus is back. All those things that kids look forward to. I'm excited to see what our kids can do with it. They haven't had it for so long, and now they're going to get it back. And when that happens, achievement follows, right? The test scores are going to go. The kids are going to be happy to be there. Yes, we're going to have kids come into our offices, right? That's going to happen. Our date was April 28th. When everybody got back, things got a little squirrely for a little while, because that's what happens. It's the social piece, right? I haven't had this for a while. We've been taking class in our bedroom. That was a little different. Now our kids are resetting right now. They're resetting right now. They're out, they're doing their thing, and they're going to come back ready for all this stuff. And I feel like it's our job. That's what I'm passionate about. Our job to put all these things in front of them. And at middle school level, that's the difference, right? They get to choose which one do you want to be part of, and hopefully they go at it full bore. Speaking of that, superpowers that we all seem to have in this group right here, because we're all doing some pretty amazing things and are passionate about things like that. So what would you say your superpower is, and how do you use it in your current role? Let me just clarify superpower. When I say superpower, right, it's really more like a skill or a skill set, right? But what do you guys use, and how do you bring that to your buildings? What would you say it is? Identify it, give it a name, right? And then kind of how do you plug that into the culture of your building? How about we go with Matt, Kristen, Jonathan, AJ?
Oh man, okay.
I think there are two things kind of going through my head right now. Energy. I think you can bring energy. I think you can discharge energy. And when I am walking through the hall, I am moving at a fast pace. When I'm talking, clearly you guys I speak pretty fast. I'm very animated. Frequently I'm told that I remind people of various television characters, and I'm like, I can't possibly be all of those people. Somebody just needs to come to some sort of conclusion on who I am, or consensus on who I am. But I do think that I just kind of promote an energetic atmosphere. The students like interacting with me. The teachers like interacting with me. But I also think like that maybe that's one. But number two is I am pretty good at bringing humor to a situation. And I think in a career that people are very stressed and very tense all the time because of the weight and the magnitude of the work that we do, I think being able to make people laugh is invaluable. And I think that I am pretty good at that. So energy and making people laugh, I think that is my educational superpower.
For sure. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That is a superpower. You know, as admin, when we walk in that building, we set the tone. And if you're walking down that hallway, sometimes I'm on a mission and oh my goodness, it's all over my face. So I got to like really kind of relax that down and like, okay, yep, I got to go get this kid or I got to go deal with something heavy right now. But like, it's like you're saying, that energy is total superpower for sure.
I saw somebody's comment of you have to have that energy for 500 sixth graders. And yes, you do have to have that energy for 500 sixth graders. But honestly, you know, the summer we've been kind of like just moving along, knowing that we had a short summer, but having this conversation right now, I am feeling that energy kind of like well up in me, like ready to hit the ground running, ready to go on one of those missions, going after somebody, whether it's a conversation or somebody has vandalized the bathroom. So yeah, I can feel it.
Right on. Who'd I say? Nate, Kristen? Who'd I say?
I think I was next.
Kristen, go ahead.
What do you got?
So I'd be the opposite. My power is like the power of calm. Like I have to constantly I have to calm down my fellow administrators sometimes, especially last year with all these COVID meetings and stuff. Like the two guys I work closely with were getting like so overwhelmed and stuff. And I'd be like, this is all you got to do. Like you do this thing and you do this and I'll do this, like easy delegation. But it's like, I had to calm them down and just break it down to what we really need to do and focus on. And then like with kids, if kids are having meltdowns, when the kids are up here, I'm just like, I'm ready. I'm just waiting them out. I have patience of a saint, I've been told, because I can just wait out screaming for 45 minutes until they're ready. And then we can move on. And I'll just sit there and let's wait it out. But I don't know, that honestly, like my own administrators, when I was a teacher, like that's what they recognized in me. And they were like, I want to train you to be an administrator with me. I was like, really? Okay. It's because I could just take it and just be like, I don't let it faze me. And then I help everyone else when they're all in, chaos. I'm the calming presence that just mellows it out, I guess. I don't know.
That's awesome. That's so key, though. I swear at the elementary level, that is needed. The kids, like you said, they come in and a kid could have a tantrum. And that tantrum, you got to wait that out. You cannot, if you go up here with them, they're going to climb higher.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to work out. That calming presence, for sure.
This is why I can't do elementary.
No.
I live with elementary.
I don't know about that. That's going to be a big push for me. But
I live with that, and I don't know how you bring the calm presence in an elementary setting. Everything is just sorry, Jonathan. Go ahead, man. My fault.
Yeah.
So I would say, Matt and I are definitely on the same wavelength, because I was definitely going to say the same two things, actually, like the energy and the humor. But I guess I would just add on top of that, I would just say another skill would be adaptability. Just knowing that my first year was, last year with the pandemic, and just knowing that, every day it was something new, and having to be okay with starting over or trying something else, or say, oh, we tried this, didn't work. Like, I feel like, I have to be that way so that when my teachers feel comfortable, like if I'm cool, I'm not stressing over, we did this last week and didn't work, something new. If I'm cool with that, it makes them feel comfortable as well. So just having that skill of saying, you know what, we tried it, it didn't work, let's try something new, being flexible, kind of go with the pace. I feel like that is an additional skill that I have.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Being flexible meant a whole lot this year.
Yes.
And I think if you were able to be flexible, and then you could communicate through that, you came out in a really good position this year in the eyes of your staff. And that, I think that sets people apart.
At the beginning of the year, we had a motto of flexible and fluid. And that is what it required. Every turn, every little bit of guidance from our Department of Ed, every little bit, everything would change, and you'd have to go from one direction and just kind of shift and go back to another. And then, oh, now everybody's coming back, so we got to shift again. It was the perfect time to make changes because the whole year was a change.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mike, you said I had to go, so I'm going to go. Yeah. Mine's relationships. You know, I like stuff like this. I like bringing people together. You know, I'm passionate about like getting people in the same room and the same page, having conversations, and, you know, meeting people and actually talking to them and kind of figuring out what they're all about. You know, I really like the relationship piece of leadership, whether it's students, whether it's staff. I like saying hello. I don't really like people out in the real world, but when I'm in a school and I'm talking to educators, I'm talking to kids, I really do like people a lot. So I'll go relationships for me. What about you, Mike?
I think I would have to say communication and presence. Especially, it's easy to get caught up in your office and buried in that stuff and do all that, especially after like a long weekend or like a vacation. Every single building, every single room, every single teacher, I want to go visit. I want to say hello. That presence goes a long way. And I think just being there and you know, kind of, you know, welcome back, everybody. It's good to see you. You know, we have a good day today type of thing. And that communication piece, doing it that way, I think those are the superpowers that I bring and into my building, and I'll never stop. I'll do that every single vacation. I'll do it every single long weekend, because I think that's what our kids need. They had their break, they had their time. We're back here at showtime.
I love it. Excellent. Well, we are almost at our 40-minute mark, and I promised you guys 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So I appreciate your time. I thank you, Matt, Jonathan, Kristen, Mike, my co-host. Awesome job tonight, everybody. Thank you so much. Why don't we go around one more time? Let's start with Mike, and then we'll go down to Matt, Kristen, and Jonathan. Just tell the people where they can find you, if they want to connect with you more, what else you're up to before we go.
Sure. I just joined Twitter land. I'm at AP Mike Lavelle on Twitter, and that's where I'm at. So far, so good on that front.
Go ahead, Matt.
All right. Yeah. So you can follow me on Twitter. It's Matt Dunbar together _VT, Virginia Tech grad over here. I also on my Twitter page have a couple of other ways that you can find me. I'm on Instagram. Not sure what my name is on Instagram. Mainly have that because I have 2 real cute kids and a nice wife. So I need to keep up those pictures.
There you go. Kristen, go ahead.
I'm just on Twitter. That's it. That was day 2 of my assistant principal job. I was told to make a Twitter account. That was it. So I'm at Hutchinson _AP. I'm still fairly new to it, but feel free to join me.
That's it. There you go. And Jonathan, go ahead, man.
Perfect. Yes. And so I'm also on Twitter, Mr. _Moore, BME. And also me and one of my colleagues, we also have kind of like a Facebook, just kind of like this, a Facebook kind of page. So it's Schooled with Moore and Dukes. So you can kind of find us on Twitter as well on Facebook. And we have educational conversations just like this as well.
That's awesome. We'll check that out. And you can follow me, AJ Bianco, on whatever, Twitter, Instagram. Find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, same thing, AJ Bianco. Check me out on the podcast, Reflect Ed, Podcast PD, and here on Unlock the Middle. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. We are going to end this, but if you want to connect with these awesome people, you know how to do it. If you guys can hang on real tight, say goodbye to the crowd. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks
Great so much.